Welcome Raiders to another video in our Great Math Adventure series. Today I am on the Scaly Mountain Trail in North Carolina. Found a little waterfall along the way, so figure I'd stop and shoot a math video. This lesson's really where we're going to start picking up the pace a little bit. We are going to start dealing with some radicals in this lesson. We're going to focus today specifically on simplifying and multiplying radicals. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Lesson 1-4. The first three lessons in this unit have been pretty foundational skills. A lot of them have been going back and reviewing things that you guys covered in middle school but that you're going to need in this course. This lesson is where we really pick up the math a little bit. This will be the first lesson that will probably challenge some of you guys as far as the skills go. Now, as long as you guys are doing what you're supposed to be doing, going through the videos, taking your notes, paying attention in class, and making sure that you're doing the practice that we ask you to do, you're going to be fine. But just to warn you guys, this is going to be the first place where some of you guys are going to struggle this year. So having said that, we are going to be focusing on multiplying and simplifying radicals. And that is another word for things that we deal with like square roots or cubed roots. Just the general overarching term is radicals. So we're going to first talk about multiplying, and there is a second step after multiplying that you're going to need to do called simplifying, but we want to go ahead and practice the multiplying part first, and then we'll come back and visit the example problems again to show you how you would simplify those. So to multiply radicals, we're going to multiply the radicand by the radicand and the coefficient by the coefficient. So just backing up on that terminology a little bit, if you aren't familiar with what a radicand is the number that is under the radical. So I'm just going to jot that down off to the side here. The radicand is the number under the square root symbol, or the radical. So when we're going to be multiplying, we're going to multiply the two numbers that are underneath the radicals together. And then you guys know what coefficients are. They're the numbers that are attached to a term. And we're going to multiply those together. So looking at these, we're going to multiply the two coefficients together, which is 4 and 5. And we're going to multiply the two radicands together, 3 and 8. So when I do this multiplication, I'm going to do 4 times 5, which is going to give me 20. And then I am going to do 3 times 8, which is 24. Now those were both radicands. They were both under the radical, so the number that I get when I multiply them together, the 24, I need to also put those under a radical. Alright, so there would be a step that we need to do in this simplifying it. We're going to hold off on that for just a bit. We're going to do a couple more practice problems, and then in the next video we'll take a look at actually simplifying those. Alright, so let's look at example 2. Throw in some variables in the mix. We're still going to follow the same process. We want to multiply the two coefficients together, so we'll start out there. And then you'll notice on this one, we don't have a coefficient. So just like any other time we have dealt with that in this course, whenever we don't have a coefficient where there's supposed to be one, that means we have an invisible 1 hidden in there. So we're going to do a 5 times 1, and that's just going to give us 5. And then I'm going to multiply my radicands together, the two numbers that are underneath the square root. Now since those are both underneath the square root, whatever I get when I multiply them has to be under the square root. So I'm going to do 5 times 3, and that's going to give me 15. I have x. I don't have any x to multiply here, so that's just going to be 15x. And I don't have any y's here, so that's going to be y squared. So my answer is going to be 5 square roots of 15xy squared. And that's all I have to do for now. Again, we'll talk about simplifying in the next video. Alright, now we have a binomial times a binomial with some square roots thrown in. So we are going to have to distribute just like we did when there weren't any square roots, where we just had like a 2x plus 3 or something like that. So we still want to multiply the first term and distribute it through. Now notice on both of these we have coefficients of 1. And we actually have a coefficient of 1 on this one as well, and on this one. They actually all have coefficients on 1, which is going to make our life pretty easy when we multiply those coefficients. Alright, so when we do 1 square root of 3 times 1 square root of 3, 1 times 1 is, of course, 1. And then we put our square root, and 3 times 3 is going to give me 9. I then distribute the square root of 3 times the square root of 4x squared. Again, I have 1 times 1, and then underneath I'm going to do 3 times 4, which is 12, and then I still have the x squared. What I want to do now, just like we did when it was a regular binomial, we're going to distribute that second piece through. So again, 1 times 1 is going to give me 1. 2x times 3 is going to give me 6x. And then again, 1 times 1 is still 1. Like I said, those all being 1s really made things easy for us. And then 2 times 4 is 8. And x times x squared, remember we add the exponents, would be x cubed. Now, just like they didn't have the 1s in front here, we don't truly need the 1s in front. So we're going to leave this as the square root of 9 plus the square root of 12x squared plus the square root of 6x plus the square root of 8x cubed. Again, we will do some simplification with this, but first we just want to get you guys comfortable with which pieces you need to multiply together. Go ahead, give these two you try as a try, and then in the next video we'll take a look at how to simplify these. Alright, see you guys then.